Hello, this is Professor Paul Gruhn from Manchester Community College. Welcome to Web Database for Web Applications. The first thing we need to do is install MySQL. There is a PDF file out on Blackboard to follow along, and hopefully it will actually parallel this video. The first thing you need to do is go out to dev.mysql.com/downloads. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see MySQL Community Server. Click on Download. From there, you scroll down, you'll see Microsoft Windows, and I'm focusing on Windows. You can either do the zip files if you know what you're doing. We're going to just use the installer, the MSI installer, and click Download. There are two installers. There's this one here, and this one is called the Community version, and the Web Community, and one is called the Installer Community. The difference is, and you'll see this right here, is the one that says Web. You use this if you have a if you have an internet connection, and most of us most likely do. We will actually be installing a 32-bit connection, MySQL, because it will install both 32-bit and 64-bit depending on what your machine is. So what we're going to do is we're going to download the Web Community version, the 1.5 megabyte version of version 5.6.15. Click on Download. We can join the MySQL community. We don't have to. I don't want to. I'm just going to go click and say Save the file. And then at that point there, it's going to dump it down into my Downloads folder. I go to my Downloads folder, and you can see there's the MySQL installer. I'm going to drag it to my desktop. Close my Downloads folder. I'm going to close my browser. I want to cancel that. I'm going to double click on the installer, and I'm going to say Run. It's doing some configuration stuff behind the scenes. I'm going to say yes again to allow. I'm going to say yes again to allow. Install MySQL products is what I want to do. I'm going to accept the terms, and I'm going to then execute to find the latest products. Do I want to install now? I sure do. And I don't know, I keep getting this update download failed security check, but it seems to still work. I'm going to click next. Developer default installs products needed for MySQL development purposes. And so that's basically what we need. We don't need the server only, the client only. We can do a full install, includes all the MySQL products. Workbench and everything. So I'm going to recommend that we do a full install. I've gotten a couple of different installer screens here. So this one's actually slightly different than the handout. Notice that it's the installation path is putting it in program files MySQL, and the data is actually going to program data MySQL Server 5.6. Good to know where stuff's going, but we're going to do a full install of all the products. Click on Next. All the products are hopefully coming with it, and we're going to hit Next. And you'll see up the top, make sure it says MySQL Server 5. Is like the first item on the list. I've had a couple of times where all I've done was install the updates and didn't have that. But everything should be here, MySQL, the Workbench, looks like for Excel, for Python and everything. And I'm going to click Execute to get this up and going. And then you'll watch it download, and we'll watch water boil for a couple of minutes. It's actually going pretty fast, which is nice. This class is called Database for Web Applications. I'd really wish we'd almost rename it, and we'd call it Database Getting Ready to Do Web Applications. All the work we're going to be doing, quite honestly, is at the command prompt, so we can learn and understand database. It's going to be like very DOS-like stuff. There is a studio, a MySQL developer studio that you can use, but we're going to focus, like the book does, right on the the command prompt, command line stuff, because it really will teach us how things are working under the hood, and I think that's really important. So everything got downloaded successfully. Now it's doing the actual installation. I'm crossing my fingers because this is the fourth or fifth time I've tried this video, and so far so good. Okay, once everything's all done, I'm going to click next. Now we go into configuration mode. Configuration, we say next. We're going to keep the defaults. I think the directions might say turn off TCP/IP. I'm going to leave this on for now. I'm going to create a password for the ID called root. It's going to be my very first cat's name. The number is 123. Don't worry about any user accounts, and then click next. Remember MySQL 5.6, click next. And now it's configuring MySQL. And now do I want to configure the samples and examples? This is actually the best version of the install that I've done so far, so we were getting lucky. And that happens, worked out good, click next. And then you'll see that there is a log. I can copy it to the clipboard. You're not really going to do anything with it, because if we go into Notepad, if we open it up, File New, and Control V, I've got over 12,000 lines of logs that happened in my install. You only really need this if you're dealing with some major debugging and stuff. Now, notice here it says MySQL Workbench after setup. So we can start that right away, and we can go right into the Workbench. Now, the book is not designed to use the Workbench. A couple of people have already asked me about using the Workbench. I would prefer that you don't, because I'm not going to be focusing on the Workbench. I'm going to be really focusing on using the command prompt. So now I'm going to close this, and then if I go down to my programs and my run box, if I type in CMD, basically I'll get a DOS window, a command line window that will run up. So again, down at the, if you put your cursor on the start button, the little search box, type in CMD, and that window will appear. If I go CD space backspace, and I do dir, I can see all of the files that are on my C drive. And what I want to do is I want to go to, I'm going to stop a second. Okay, we're back. I took a pause, make sure everything was going to work right. The first thing you want to do is at the start button at the bottom, you want to type in CMD and open up a command DOS window. Then you want to do a CD to program files, MySQL Server 5.6/bin. That's where everything's going to be. It's going to be a pain in the neck. If some of you know how to write a batch file, you could actually do a batch file to do that. But that's what you want to do. Now on page 27 of the book in chapter 2, if you type in point number 7, MySQL D -- console, that will basically shut down the display stuff and allow the console to be running. Then flip to the next page, and on the top of page 28, MySQL show, and then -u for user, and the username is root, -p for password. And remember we said before, remember your password. And now here's the password, my cat's name with the numbers 123. Now right here, this is your first homework assignment. Make a screenshot of this. Make a screenshot of this, cut and paste it, and put it into a Word doc. And then basically say, you know, your name, in this case, Paul Gruhn, I have installed MySQL and it is working. If you do this, you're going to get 10 points for successfully installing, and we're going to be ready to go. So this is where we need to get for this first couple of days. I'm going to have a couple of more assignments coming up soon, but there's going to be a communication assignment just to make sure everybody's talking, and that you got to get this up and running. Those of you on a Mac, it might be a little more difficult and a little different. I'm going to try to find some time and play with that, and if I am able to figure that out, I will Be more than happy to come up with a PDF file and maybe even a video for that. Also, throughout the class, if any of you want to create a YouTube video on any aspect of SQL, a little tutorial, 5 to 10 minutes. I use a website called screencast-o-matic.com. It's $12 a year for their professional account, and it is a great tool for creating online tutorials and easily publishing them up to YouTube. I will be more than happy to give credit and points for anybody who creates tutorials to help improve the quality of this class. We're going to focus on the book and go through the various assignments in the book, and I'll come up with some homework assignments along the way. But anything you folks can do to come up and make our class better is definitely welcomed. So here's your first task. Read chapters 1, 2. Once you got chapter 2 and you've gotten this screenshot up and ready to go, send it in as an assignment and you'll get your 10 points. And then we'll take a look, start looking at chapters 3 and 4 after you've gotten this, and we'll have some videos to go with it. Looking forward to a fun class. It's going to be a little different. You guys know I like to have the interaction in a classroom setting, but we'll see how that works out. Let's have a fun semester.